sorry, notice us. We're looking at the camera.
Hi, we're Batten and Kamp, and I'm Ali and Dan.
Hi guys, we're going to show you through what we're working towards right now. We're a resident currently here at the space called Current Plans, an alternative art space here in Hong Kong. We've been kindly gifted this space to use as a studio for 2 months and then slowly build out an exhibition of new works to be opening soon.
And at the moment, it's sort of filled with experiments which are partway done and some complete pieces, but all just sort of a work in progress while we get ready for the show. So let's take you through some of the work.
We're going to be showing a mix of furniture works and sculpture works, and most of the pieces will be somewhere in between. Maybe we can show you the work in progress stuff. This is the inner workings of our steel and stone piano.
That we made with Henry Chu.
Yeah, so it's collaboration with another friend of ours, Henry Chu. And so we're responding to this electronic component and then building a sculpture around it. So obviously this is normally a gallery, but right now it's our studio. So this is like very simple temporary workshop. Like a little bit messy, but you can see here the different things that we're working on. So we've been traveling a lot for the last 2 years for work, and it is actually the longest we've been in one place for actually a long time. So we're here for 3 months, and that's a little bit what the show talks about as well, is this idea of domesticity and lack thereof in our lives in the last little while.
Very near the residence space, there's this kind of beautiful overlooked beach. Dan and I use stone in a lot of our works, and we were searching for stones for some pieces, and we found a whole lot of petrified coral, which is very sad, but also very beautiful. But this piece in particular, we've been working a bit with tiny TVs.
Making or editing videos that we feel are like relevant to the particular object that the TV is latching onto. So the TV is like a parasite, kind of, and it's almost like it's dreaming of the object that it's attached to here.
And I want to show you a pile of things that we've found. So like this is some of the coral that we've found on the beach, and as I say, lunch back to the studio. It's walking distance kind of, but then when you're walking with this much stuff, it's always a little bit tricky. But these are things that are yet to turn into pieces, and of course some of them won't, and we'll return them back, which is quite a nice, obviously a very nice thing about working with something natural. So you don't have to feel quite so guilty about how much you use.
Yeah, we're always working with the materials that are close at hand.
Yeah.
Or at least we like to.
We do.
And here in Hong Kong, that tends to mean like very industrially produced hardware and metals, and then also the things that we can find while we're hiking or at the beach.
So nice to be making again in Hong Kong. We feel very, very comfortable and very creative while we're here.
Sex tape.
Sex tape.
This is our sex tape. Saved on a USB and sealed in glass. So this is like the top surface component of a coffee table, actually. So it lives right in the middle of your domestic space. It's like the most personal, the most intimate aspect of ourselves and our relationship, presented right there as this kind of challenge or temptation right there in the middle of your lounge.
We are a relationship as well as a practice, as well as a business and everything else. And it's certainly been something a concept that we've at times felt very comfortable with, and at other times very uncomfortable.
A friend of ours was in a rave in Vietnam somewhere and overheard someone say, "I heard about this artist that sealed their sex tape in a glass coffee table," and that was
we were so
such a crazy moment.
That was such a career highlight. We're like, we've actually made it. That's so cool.
I mean, there's pieces like this, and then neon is something we had from a previous project, actually. So we're just mixing all these things together. Like the violence of the grappling hook next to the fragility of the neon is very satisfying, I think.
But also, this is such an example for me of actually getting to work while we're surrounded by materials, and because it doesn't need to start with a concept, you know, it doesn't need to be something that you sketch and then draw up on a computer and then execute. This is play. Like, this just comes from Dan and I being in the studio and trying something out, which we do constantly, and leaves us very happy. So hopefully there are a few more pieces like that in the show where it's just reactive in a way.
We always wanted to make a mobile. I think a mobile is fun because it's kind of like a accepted in-between of sculpture and domestic objects. You know, you have like these little people clinging to rock, sort of like all of us clinging to this piece of rock, like hurtling through the cosmos, but then also orbiting or revolving around these other objects that are kind of symbols for us of ending. You have a site in New Zealand that has a lot of dinosaur fossils, and 3D scanned this thing, and dinosaurs are like the most charismatic mass extinction.
And I would just say too, when we talk about endings, for us, it's not often with sadness. I think it's about trying to see the beauty in it too, like about understanding that things just end, like us, like animals, like things around us just eventually are finite, and that's beautiful. You know, that's something that can be held and cherished just like life.
Oh, it's complicated. It can be beautiful and it can be very problematic as well, depending on why it happened.
We've always had the roses 3D scanned, and then the previous one is printed in aluminium, and this one is printed in plastic. And rose has been a motif for us probably for the last 3 years, and it's very personal. But it is about my mom, who is dying of motor neuron disease, and her whole identity is her garden, which is filled with roses. And so we've made a piece for her actually, which lives now in New Zealand, which centers around a rose, but it just kind of keeps finding its way back into our work as a way of reflecting on and processing what we're going through.
Roses, it's like such a cliche symbol for fragile beauty or beautiful fragility, because it's such a common symbol. It's like very powerful. It's nice to work with things that already have such a strong meaning. And roses are not native to New Zealand, and the non has been introduced to New Zealand can actually do a lot of harm. So rose comes from a European definition of beauty. It's beautiful in many respects, but also does harm. Understanding how our definitions of beauty can have such strong impact on the world.
Yeah, agreed.